everybody. Douglas Blair Roberts here, the Super Vader 400, and of course Mr. the Fanboy, the brown skinned human here, back for another video. And this time, this is my salute. This was initially going to be 3 separate videos, but since I don't have that much to say about the second 2, I decided to combine them all in 3. That's my salute of New Japan World Series Wrestling in Australia, and actually 4, Major League Pro Wrestling, Major League Wrestling, and number 4 is NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, in 2019. So with that being said, let's get started right now. Before I hit my music and make my grand entrance, all 4 of these promotions throughout 2018 and now into 19 have been nothing short of amazing, despite a couple of problems there, such as all of these promotions having their rosters and talents rated. But I'm going to talk about while each promotion is good in the on-screen camera portion of this review. These 4 promotions are 4 of the biggest promotions keeping me interested in wrestling. So with that being said, let's get started right now. Hey everyone, and like I said, so yeah, this is my salute of New Japan World Series Wrestling, Major League Wrestling, and the National Wrestling Alliance. Let's start off with New Japan. New Japan was on fire last year. One of the main reasons you haven't seen my 2017 and 18 reviews yet, because these years there was so much awesome stuff that I'm having a hard time scripting all of it so I don't forget anything. There was so much awesome stuff, and this year has been pretty awesome too. But like I said, this is my thoughts on New Japan in 2019. It was awesome. The very first show we got to talk about is Wrestle Kingdom 13. Man, what an awesome show it was. Okada and White, followed by the main event, Kenny Omega and Tanahashi. These were the fights of the night, followed by everything else. The whole pay-per-view from beginning to end was awesome. I already told you why in previous videos why I didn't review it at the time when it was out, but I will definitely watch and review that show and the fights from that show on this channel, Mr. the Fanboy. The review will be on my Super Vader 400 channel and fan page, but the fights from that show will be on what's his name. But man, was that an awesome show, especially the main events, man. Main events, Okada and Jay White. I remember how invested I was in this storyline. I wanted Okada to beat the living daylights out of Jay White, Gato, and Jado, and it didn't happen. He lost. It was an awesome fight, but he lost. I also love Okada breaking out the trunks, even though I prefer the pants. but breaking out these brand new trunks for 2019. Next was the main event, Tanahashi and Omega. Love the storyline going into this. I love how, so even though both of these guys were faces, they made it real, like an actual sport. In New Japan, one thing I like about New Japan, just because two wrestlers are good guys doesn't mean they're friends. It doesn't mean they're allied with each other, with each other. And just because two guys are bad guys doesn't mean they're friends and are allied with each other. So it's cliques, factions, and stuff like it would be in a real life sport, like it would be in a real life sport. And right here, Tanahashi and Omega, how personal it was in the interviews, even Omega keeping kayfabe in the interviews and using realistic terminology. Omega in the hype package, which was awesome for this fight. Omega talking about Tanahashi, your future is the gimmick battle royal, is the jobber battle royal, Then Kenny Omega's epic and emotional entrance, because this was the last of Kenny Omega and the Elite for this show. And Kenny Omega, it went out to bang. That theme song I just came out to, awesome. And the cool RPG style video game which showed Kenny Omega meeting Tanahashi. It was awesome, and the fight was just awesome. One of the best matches I've seen this year. Wasn't crying, but you almost wanted to, that this was the last of the Elite in New Japan for a while. Because they would go start that crappy All Elite Wrestling BS later. I already talked about my problems with that in the previous video, but it was awesome. The undercard was pretty good too. Tai Chi had a pretty good feud with Tetsuya Naito over the Intercontinental Championship, and later won the belt. I think he won the open weight belt again from Gato. I think Gato before dropping it to Ishii. Okada won the New Japan Cup. I remember him defeating Sanada. I don't remember who his first opponents were. Okada winning the cup and then upsetting Jay White again, defeating him to regain the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Didn't think he'd get it back so fast. And Jay White surprising the hell out of me by winning the championship from Tanahashi, Tanahashi becoming one of the biggest heels. I thought 2018 was better for New Japan, but there are several things that are better for this year, such as Tanahashi, White, and Okada regaining the championship. Another cool breakout wrestler from this year. I saw him in 2018, but I didn't think much of him. That is Yoshihashi, who had a phenomenal fight with who is Zack Sabre Jr., which I saw a replay of on Access TV. I saw him last year, but he didn't participate in any memorable feuds or matches. So many awesome matches. Tai Chi in the opening rounds of the New Japan Cup defeating Tomohama in a phenomenal fight. Okada squaring off with Jericho in one of his best matches recently. I don't like his All Elite stuff, but his New Japan stuff, his All Elite stuff is okay, but his New Japan stuff is way better. You can see he cares more about New Japan than he does All Elite Wrestling. Yeah, like I said, New Japan, the best wrestling today. They're way better than ROH, All Elite, and WWE. The best wrestling is New Japan. Best wrestling in America is probably TNA and Major League Wrestling. So yeah, New Japan, awesome stuff, man. Just awesome stuff as always. Even though they lost a lot of their wrestlers, sad to hear that Davey Boy Smith left because he wanted to wrestle in Impact Wrestling. But New Japan has a grudge against Impact Wrestling for the Okada thing years ago. New Japan really needs to get over that. Okada was a Japanese wrestler who couldn't speak English. I didn't even think Okada would ever be that big of a star. If I went back to 2011, you would have told me several years later Okada will be Wrestler of the Year, one of the biggest names in wrestling, and Wrestler of the Year. I would not have believed you, man. I would not have believed you. So yeah, New Japan really needs to really get over that and reform their relationship with TNA. Next is so yeah, Davey Boy Smith is gone. Michael Elgin is gone. I see. I like the fact they're in TNA, but I hate the fact they have to leave New Japan to do it. New Japan do it. Even though I'm enjoying Michael Elgin's TNA run much better than I'm enjoying his New Japan run, but I hate the fact he had to leave New Japan behind. Um, um, Izazuna, that dog guy, yeah, he retired earlier this year. Um, um, Suzuki wasn't in the G1 Climax because of age, and the G1 Climax is phenomenal so far. You have Okada defeating Tanahashi in another awesome fight. You have you have you had Kenta who recently returned to New Japan, wrestling a dream match with God with Ibushi with Kota Ibushi. Then you got Robbie Eagles leaving the Bullet Club and turning face after a 4-star classic with 4 to 5 star classic with him and Osprey at the New Japan Australia event. I keep forgetting what it was called, but it was awesome, especially the at the end because throughout the fight, Robbie Eagles he actually turned face during the fight, trying to be fair and win the title fair and square, win the title from Osprey fair and square. But his members kept trying to interfere, and after the fight, he got attacked. He got attacked by the members and officially declared him leaving the Bullet Club and is now a babyface now, Robbie Eagles. So yeah, that was awesome. Awesome too. Minoru Suzuki. One thing I did like about him not competing in the G1 Climax this year is I hope that his awesome promo where he claimed hell there is hell to pay. So I hope this leads to some cool Attitude Era style moment where he beats up everyone. This leads to some cool Attitude Era style Attitude Era. This leads to some cool Attitude Era style moment where yeah, like I said, this leads to some cool Attitude Era style moment where he starts tearing up the place and beating up everyone and attacking and injuring everyone who's in the G1 Climax. So yeah, yeah, awesome stuff. Despite losing a lot of the wrestlers, including the Elite, I like the Elite much better when they were in New Japan. But New Japan is doing fine without them. Next is the next promotion I want to talk about is what's that promotion called again? Oh yeah, World Series Wrestling in Australia. Don't have much to say about this, which is why I combined it into one. This is probably the best wrestling promotion of all time, and that is because it's only a monthly based show. It's vastly similar to the World Wrestling All Stars promotion from the early 2000s, the first Australian promotion that came as a replacement for WCW and was a precursor to TNA of today. A promotion that goes straight to pay-per-view, and it happens like every couple of months. This happens. This show has 2 shows a year. This show has 2 shows a year, which means wrestling never gets stale. Instead of having multiple shows a year like every other promotion, and WWE having multiple shows a week, this only has 2 a month, so it never gets stale, and their storylines carry over from various other promotions, and they feature the same wrestlers from New Japan, the British wrestling companies, TNA, Ring of Honor, All Elite Wrestling, and Australia, and wrestlers native to Australia. This is where Robbie Eagles got his start in their most recent show their most recent show, I think it's called Destroy and Rebuild, something like that, was awesome. They most recently had another awesome show, which I'm still waiting for them to upload the matches to this show, and that was Zero Fear. Zero Fear, a show named after Pentagon's Junior's theme song, who was a big part of this show. Was a big part of the show. Brian Cage and someone else is the tag team champions. I keep forgetting who the heavyweight champion is, but yeah, World Series Wrestling, an awesome promotion. Next is the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm going to save Major League Wrestling for last. The National Wrestling Alliance, awesome stuff. They most recently had a Crockett Cup and heavyweight tournament pay-per-view like event, and I haven't finished watching. From what I've seen, it was awesome, with the main event being headlined by Magnus and Marty Scurll. Magnus and Marty Scurll said, "Love Magnus as NWA heavyweight champion. I wanted him to take his spot as the top TNA guy. That didn't happen, so I'm happy to hear that he's the top guy in the National Wrestling Alliance. And the National Wrestling Alliance is, in my opinion, one of the best wrestling promotions out today. Happy that the NWA is back. Happy the NWA is back and under Billy Corgan. And I do want a partnership with them in Impact Wrestling, which is what Billy Corgan wanted last year. So yeah. So yeah. Keith, I think it was Bram and another guy who won the tag team tournament. I think it was Bram and Brody King who won the tag team tournament. I can't remember at the moment. Um, what else about this promotion? Oh yeah, so yeah, National Wrestling Alliance, and last but not least is Major League Wrestling. Major League Wrestling was awesome last year, with feuds involving Shane Strickland and Low Key, who Shane Strickland is no longer with the company. It was Low Key went beating Shane Strickland for the heavyweight championship that introduced me to Major League Wrestling. Then seeing that phenomenal fight between Teddy Hart and Johnny Impact, who, sadly to say, Johnny Impact is no longer with Major League Wrestling, but it doesn't matter because Major League Wrestling has Teddy Hart, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, the most exciting professional wrestler. And he's now middleweight champion and is now in an awesome feud with MJF, 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 whom I can't stand. Awesome wrestler. Love his wrestling. Love his promos, charisma, and ability, but I do not like his gimmick. So he's an awesome heel in this feud right here. And you have Teddy Hart being an awesome champion, defending a title against the likes of Pentagon and many more. Before this, he was feuding with Tommy Dreamer. You have Low Key is now a babyface after being a heel for so long. Tommy Lawler as the top guy. He's pretty cool. Disappointed with the lack of appearances for a junior heavyweight I like Jimmy Yuta, who I hear is still part of the roster, and a top indie wrestler, but a jobber in Major League Wrestling, and that was Vandal Ortegon, who had a phenomenal fight with Brian Pillman Jr. last year, where Vandal Ortegon, even though he was the jobber match, he was the star in the match, and Pillman Jr. was like the wrestle like the jobber. But Major League Wrestling still awesome. Major League Wrestling still awesome today, even though they've lost a lot of their wrestlers. Tommy Dreamer's gone, Sammy Callahan is gone, and I mentioned how angry in my Ring of Honor and WWE rant video. I'll mention how angry I was that Brody King and PCO got removed from this promotion to wrestle for Ring of Honor full time. PCO and Brody King, I like them because they stood out from the rest of the roster. As much as I like Major League Wrestling, every wrestler for the most part is the same. Every wrestler is a middleweight or a lightweight. You had two big, tough, old school bruiser type wrestlers, wrestlers, wrest, wrest, wrestlers, and now you don't really have that much anymore. So yeah, Pentagon Jr. Phoenix are also gone from this promotion, and are now full time and are now wrestling even more garbage fights in All Elite Wrestling. So yeah, MJF, he still wrestles here and wrestles in All Elite Wrestling. So these are, my opinion, the top four best wrestling promotions today. Other promotions like Title Match Wrestling, Heartland Wrestling, which is a Canadian, Calgary-based promotion, headed by that Andrea Corbell guy on YouTube, and the Georgia-based pro wrestling, Anarchy Pro Wrestling that I'm always talking about, and OVW, and the CMLL, AAA, The Crash, and IWG and Underground. I'll talk about these some other time. This is it for Doug's top four. Doug's salute of these top four promotions in 2019. All right, I'm finished now. Time to hit my music. I'm really exhausted right now. See you later.